We are meeting after a long time because I had been to Devon and later on we had our monthly weekend meeting in Newcastle and Edinburgh. So I think in our previous class, which was held almost a month ago, we shall continue from where we left. We were discussing the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in which Sri Ramakrishna has gone to attend a drama on Chaitanya Leela in the Star Theatre, which is still there on Beedon Street in Calcutta. That Star Theatre was started by Girish Chandra Ghosh. All of us know that he is the father of modern Bengali drama, and he wrote some wonderful plays, and Sri Ramakrishna appreciated that, and he asked him not to give up. Though Girish Chandra Ghosh was, after meeting Sri Ramakrishna, there was a big change in his life, and he wanted to give up because in those days, drama, even theatre, though he wrote some very wonderful plays based on devotional themes, but the actors who acted in them were not considered to be those from a higher state of society. Acting was supposed to be a profession which people who belong to the so called elite class would not participate. So, naturally, acting was looked down upon as a kind of entertainment, but it was Girish Ghosh. It is Girish Ghosh's wonderful effort which raised the level of drama, of theatre, to a very noble profession. And people who belong to the lower state of society who acted in these films, they got transformed. So Sri Ramakrishna knew that the intention behind Girish Ghosh's Star Theatre and all the wonderful dramas that he composed, and he himself acted in many of them, was to convey some wonderful religious or spiritual ideas. So he was very keen. Whenever he got an opportunity, he used to attend these dramas because he used to say that even if it is a drama, the real personality which is conveyed by the different actors or characters who play that divine play or the divine drama, it gives you a feeling of the real character behind that play. The real character, very often, the dramas were based on great spiritual personalities like Chaitanya Leela, that is the life of Sri Chaitanya, in a very dramatic way with lot of songs, because Chaitanya was the founder of the Bhakti, a stream of uh, devotees who promoted the Bhakti movement in that part of India. So Chaitanya was famous for his kirtan, his devotional approach to reality, to God. And this Chaitanya Leela is full of such episodes where music or kirtan, that is a form of music, devotional music, very often it is sung by individuals, but at the same time there is a chorus which sings. So that gave a wonderful effect to all the dialogues and the spiritual ideas that were conveyed not only through dialogues or conversations but also through these songs. So that is the background of this chapter which we started discussing in our previous Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna class. And M. Baburam, the people who were present M is the chronicler of the gospel. He is the one because of whom we have all these conversations recorded. So M. Baburam, a devotee of the lineage of Nityananda. Nityananda was the spiritual companion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So a devotee who belonged to that same lineage, of course several generations after Chaitanya, because Chaitanya lived a few hundred years earlier. So that lineage, a person who belonged to that lineage of Nityananda was Chaitanya's companion, Mahendra Mukherjee and Girish. Girish obviously because he was the one who wrote this play and enacted this play. They were wonderful actors. So Sri Ramakrishna's cab, the horse cab, arrives in front of the Star Theatre on Beedon Street in Calcutta at about 8:30 p.m. So it's a late night show, and he is accompanied by M. Baburam, Mahendra Mukherjee, and one or two other devotees. One of them who belongs to the Nityananda's family, the family, the lineage of Swami Nityananda was a companion of Sri Chaitanya. Now they are purchasing the tickets because it was a big group. And Girish Ghosh, the manager of the theatre, himself comes to Thakur's carriage with some theatre employees to receive them. They welcome him and cordially take him upstairs. Girish knows he has just been acquainted with Sri Ramakrishna. He is not very close, not become a great devotee. But he has heard about him and is extremely happy that Sri Ramakrishna, the great saint, the great Paramahamsa of Dakshineshwar, has come to witness the performance of Chaitanya Leela. So he is given a seat in the southwestern box. For VIPs and for people who could afford, there were seats which were known as boxes. It's a special seating arrangement where they don't have to sit with the crowd. These were known as boxes. So there was a box arrangement for Sri Ramakrishna made in the southwestern box. And M naturally, who was accompanying him, got a seat near him. Obviously they had to purchase the tickets. Only Sri Ramakrishna was exempt because Girish Ghosh said he will be my guest but others have to pay. So naturally all others had paid and Sri Ramakrishna was accompanied by M, who was sitting in the same box. But behind them was Baburam and one or two other devotees who had obviously paid for the box. Rates were much higher than the normal seats. The theatre hall was well lit. It's a bright theatre hall and the seats on the ground floor were totally filled, where the tickets obviously were all sold out, but the boxes being expensive, they had the luxury of having some kind of privacy, and each box has an attendant who fans the spectators from behind. Girish has appointed an attendant to fan Thakur. So that is an extra facility the box people would get. In those days there was no ceiling fan or any other fan or air conditioning. So manually somebody had to stand there and fan the people. Obviously they would charge more for that. So Sri Ramakrishna was very happy as a child to see the theatre hall. Then Sri Ramakrishna says to M, laughing, "Oh, it is so nice. It is good we came. I get inspired when there are many people around. I then clearly see that he has become all." He means the Lord. So Sri Ramakrishna is in a state. We also love company. Every one of us love when there's a crowd of people because we are social beings. We like to be in the midst of society, most of us. And we want people around. We feel happy But our happiness is because it helps us to get rid of some kind of loneliness or aloneness. But Sri Krishna was not of that type. He had reached a state of Vijnana which follows loneliness or aloneness. So he believed in Nirjan Vas, solitude, where one can develop the divine spirit and try to manifest the divine spirit within. And when it is manifest, you see that same divine spirit which is within you pervading the other beings, whether it is men, human beings, or animals. He clearly sees, he says, I then clearly see that it is the Lord who has become all. He has become all. So that is why he is joyful. But there was a time when he was doing sadhana when he would prefer not to see the face of a human being. He used to go deep into the forest in Panchavati. He went so deep inside, where people were afraid to go even during daylight. It was a dense forest. Dakshineshwar, if you in those days when Sri Ramakrishna did sadhana, people would be afraid to go there even in broad daylight. It was dark because it was a big banyan tree and so many other trees, and snakes and other animals would be there. I mean, reptiles and others. So people were afraid to even go there during the daytime, leave alone at night. And Sri Ramakrishna would often sit there and meditate. So he loved solitude in the initial stages of his sadhana, because without that nirjan vas, without that uh, solitude, one cannot focus one's mind on the joyful divine spirit within. It is only when that joyful divine spirit is realized within, one tries to see that same spirit pervading all other beings. And then, even though you are in company, you don't see human beings, as gross creatures. He sees the divine in them. So that is why one has to be very particular that he is happy not because he is in the midst of a social gathering as we normally are. We try to overcome the spirit of loneliness by engaging ourselves, by partying, by getting people to gather around us so that we can get rid of our loneliness. But here it was something different. He was overjoyed when he saw such a big crowd enjoying the drama because he could see the divine spirit in them. M said, Yes, sir. Then Sri Krishna changes the topic. After seeing the divine, he has just come down to the normal plane, and then he's asking because he was not charged. I mean, he was given a free seat. What will they charge us? I mean, now suddenly Sri Krishna has come down to a lower level because he knew that to sit in the box is very expensive. So who's going to pay? So he is a bit worried. So he says, what will they charge us? They means Girish Ghosh and the theatre people. M says they will not charge us anything. They are glad that you came. Obviously, M is not willing to disclose and make Sri Krishna feel uneasy. He doesn't want, because Girish Ghosh had clearly said that Sri Krishna will be given a free seat in the box, but others have to pay. So they have all paid. They are very happy. So Sri Krishna, like a child, is asking how much will they charge us, or is it free? Then they said, you will not be charged anything. They are glad that you have come. Then Sri Krishna, like a child, says, it is all mother's greatness. You see, he is attributing everything that happens in his life, good or bad, to the divine mother. It is mother's sweet will. If she desires, she can give me a free box seat. And he would not have been upset if we were his visit would have been turned down for some reason. We have seen many times in his life, especially when Mathur's son-in-law, for some reason, was upset with Hriday, the sevak of Sri Ramakrishna. So, out of anger, he asked Sri Ramakrishna to just leave the place by mistake, though he did not realize that Sri Ramakrishna would take it seriously. His anger was on Hriday. So Sri Ramakrishna he had very few possessions. So he took his towel and was just about to leave the campus. Because he totally depended on Divine Mother. So he says, if it is divine will of Mother, I'll go. And he was about to go when suddenly Mathur's son-in-law realized, what have I done? He's such a holy man, and I've asked him. My point was, I did not want Hriday to stay here because of his behavior. So he went and pleaded to Sri Ramakrishna that no, I didn't mean that you have to leave. You please come back. He knew the greatness of Sri Ramakrishna. But Sri Ramakrishna was not hurt at all. Otherwise, other people, if they have been insulted, they would say that no, I will not. But Sri Ramakrishna took it as mother's will. To come there was mother's will. If he had been asked to go, that is also mother's will. She will take care. So if he has been charged, or maybe if somebody had paid money, it is mother's will. But because he was not charged, like a child, he says, oh, it's all mother's greatness. They are glad not because I have come, but because mother has arranged, and she is the one who has made it possible for me to watch this wonderful drama without paying anything. So that is the childlike behavior, the childlike dependence of Sri Ramakrishna on his Divine Mother. Then the curtain rises. All the spectators now turn their eyes towards the stage. The first scene of this drama Chaitanya Leela shows a meeting of sin and the six enemies. Now, Girish Ghosh had a wonderful technique of making all these qualities, sins and different evil or good or evil passions, trying to objectify them and personify them through different characters. Some characters would be full of lust, some will be full of anger, some will be full of greed, some characters, or maybe one character, would be full of attachment, pride and envy. To show the six passions, they call it six passions. The Shada Ripu, that is the word used in our scriptures. Ripu means enemies, six enemies of the mind. They are the six passions which have been classified as one of the passions that harms us, that is evil, is lust. Second is anger. Third is greed. Fourth is attachment. Fifth is pride or ego. And sixth is envy or jealousy. So these six passions destroy the mind of a person. So that is why he has shown in the first meeting itself, the first scene itself, there is a meeting of six of sin. There is one character who is representing sin in general. And these are the six enemies who are having a dialogue. That is lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride and envy. These are the six enemies of enemies of the mind which lead to which force a person to commit sin. So the first drama or the first part of the drama deals with a dialogue. The six passions trying to express themselves, and through the personification or through the characterization of these passions, the characters are trying to convey the dangers a human being has to face because of these six passions, how they destroy a human being. And there is a conversation. So that is the first part. That scene is over. Then there is another scene which shows the better side of man. It's a dialogue between discrimination, dispassion, and bhakti. So these are the three better sides or the positive sides of the human mind, of the human psyche. That is discrimination, viveka, trying to know what is good, what is bad, to discriminate between the right and the wrong, good and the bad, real and the unreal. That is known as viveka, discrimination. And that, if it is combined with dispassion towards the world and passion towards the divine or the passion towards God or devotion towards God and bhakti. So dispassion by itself is not a positive quality because many people have a dispassion for life for various reasons. They're just maybe in a state of depression. You ask them, they will say they are dispassionate but without a positive side to that dispassion. That is bhakti. So dispassion or vairagya has to be combined with abhyasa. Abhyasa means regular devotional practices, loving any aspect of God. It may be a personal God, it may be an impersonal God. Any aspect of reality, if you have devotion to that aspect, it is known as bhakti. And that should go side by side with the dispassion or vairagya. But dispassion and bhakti, vairagya and anuraga or devotion comes only if there is discrimination. So first comes viveka. Viveka means if you can discriminate between the different priorities of life that we come across. There are so many priorities and we have to make the choices in our life. And it requires a keen sense or a wonderful sense of discrimination to decide the things that will ultimately be beneficial, which will lead to dispassion and bhakti. That is the goal of spiritual life. So it begins with viveka. So Gauranga here, Girish Ghosh has first shown how the six enemies of the mind create sin or create evil in a person's life. First one is lust. So there are some dialogues which are not mentioned here. Each of the characters who is playing one particular evil quality. One actor is a representation of lust, another actor is a representation of anger, another actor is a representation of greed. So he had the wonderful knack of creating characters signifying or maybe personifying these qualities. Then attachment, pride and envy. So the conversation goes on and you know what a havoc they are creating, these six passions. But at the same time, the second scene, there's a dialogue between discrimination, dispassion and bhakti, saying that how discrimination, what is the characteristic of discrimination. So bhakti now says, so this dialogue which bhakti says, bhakti means devotion, is personified. There is one character, perhaps it's a woman, because bhakti is in feminine. So bhakti says, now that's a dialogue which bhakti is given to utter, to speak out. Bhakti says, Gauranga means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on whom this drama is based. Gauranga has taken birth in Nadia. Nadia is the place where he was born. in Bengal. That is why the learned and the rishis and munis are coming in disguise to see him. Just as we see in the life of Sri Krishna, Christ, all the wise men came to see him, to see Christ, the baby Christ when he was born in Bethlehem. So also Sri Krishna when he was born, a lot of learned people, rishis, disguised as ordinary people, because otherwise they would be found out. Normally good people or holy people, they come in disguise so they can enjoy the sight of the divine child. So Gauranga Bhakti says, Bhakti means the character was portraying the good quality of devotion to the personal Lord. Says Gauranga has taken birth in Nadia, and see how the beautiful atmosphere is created where learned and the rishis have come from all over the world, all over the place, all over the country to see him. Then there is a song, Blessed is the earth that Lord Gauranga has appeared in Nadia. So after these dialogues there is a beautiful song, and the first line says, Blessed is the earth that Lord Gauranga, of course Bhakti is singing, he has appeared in Nadia. Behold, the demigods are coming by a flying chariot to have a glimpse of Lord Hari. So Lord Hari has been himself born, incarnated as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he has come, and the chariots, all the angels have come, these demigods who are like angels, they have come to witness this wonderful scene. And lo, all the rishis and munis filled with divine love are coming too. So these are the first three lines of the song. So the demigods, the goddesses, the rishis, the munis, they are all singing in chorus a hymn hymn of praise to Gauranga, looking upon him as an incarnation of God. Seeing them, Thakur has now passed into a state of ecstasy. He says to M, ah, how wonderful it is. So after the first two scenes, suddenly when he hears this song, which is the gist of this whole drama, the divine play has begun now. And Sri Ramakrishna, as he used to say, the custard apple, the artificial custard apple, reminds you of the real custard apple. It may be artificial, it may be just a model or a small imitation custard apple. But that will remind you of the real custard apple. So he says, though it may be a drama, the songs that we are witnessing has the same effect if one is sensitive enough of seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So he says, what a wonderful drama it is. The demigods and goddesses and rishis and munis are singing the hymn. So the men are singing now. The song is going on. So the men and women are in two groups and they are singing. That's a typical kirtan style, where the men will sing something and they will be replied by a group of women who will complete that poem. Will recite the next few verses. So the first verse is chanted by men. It has a wonderful effect. It's like a conversation, musical conversation, where men say, "Oh Keshab." Keshab means not Keshab Sen, but Sri Krishna. He was also known as Keshava. So, "Oh Keshab, please bestow your compassion on us. We are the lowly, you who roam the groves and glades of Vrindavan." So if you remember, Vrindavan was a place where Sri Krishna spent his childhood days as a young child and a young boy. So he used to roam the groves and glades of Vrindavan with the lowly people, the shepherd boys, the simple shepherd boys. So the men are saying, please bestow your compassion on us, and you, because you are the one who gave holy company to these lowly people, simple shepherd boys, Gopalas, who roamed, and you roamed the groves and glades of Vrindavan. Then the women, symbolizing Radha and the other gopis, who were also fascinated, were delighted by Sri Krishna's com- company as a child. He was just a young child, and he used to take his flute. So the women were enchanted. Whenever he played the flute, they would run in flocks. So the women are singing now, you, the beloved Madhava, the charming Mohana. Mohana means one who enchants, is playing the flute. You, the beloved Madhava, the charming Mohana, playing the flute. So women and men, they are singing. Then the whole chorus sings together. That is Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Chant the name of Hari, O mind. Mana Amar, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Bol Hari Bol, Mana Amar. My mind, please chant Hari Bol. So this is sung together. So it has a wonderful effect. The men describe one aspect of Sri Krishna, women describe the second aspect of Sri Krishna, and then finally in chorus they will sing. So like that, the different verses of that poem, men will sing one portion, two lines will be sung by women, and then all will sing Hari Bol. Oh my mind, chant the name of Hari, chant the name of Hari, Hari Bol. Bol means speak, spell out. Then the second line, men are now singing the second line, the land of Vraja. Vraja Bhumi is where Sri Krishna lived in his youth, in his childhood. The tamer of Kaliya. Kaliya was a great big serpent who lived in the Yamuna river there, Rajabhumi, and who used to now and then come and bite, threaten, not bite, but at least used to come and frighten these young children who used to go to drink water or take their bath there. So Sri Krishna once taught him a lesson. So he tamed Kaliya, the serpent, and because of that he is known as the dispeller of fear and harm. So any harm or fear that befalls a human being, the men say, you are the dispeller of that fear. Just as you tamed the ferocious serpent, Kaliya, you killed that ferocious serpent because he was giving a lot of trouble. He was creating a lot of fear in the minds of the young innocent Gopalas. Then the woman says, you with slanting eyes and the peacock feather. Sri Krishna also always used to wear a peacock feather on his head, the crown that he wore. So, you with slanting eyes, the women are now singing, and the peacock feather arcing on your forehead, the heart throb of Radha. Because Radha was a gopi who was the foremost among the women of that Vrajabhumi. Of course, they were much older. He was just a child. But they all fell in love with this small Krishna, who was hardly 13 to 14 years old. They were enchanted by his flute, they were enchanted by the peacock feather and the wonderful, graceful movement of Sri Krishna. And he was the heart throb of Radha, means all the gopis represented by Radha. Then the men say, it was you who lifted the Govardhan Mount. Mount Govardhan, once there was very heavy rain, and the Lord of Rain, the rain god as they say, decided to flood the whole Vrajabhumi. And there was so much of rain in Vrindavan that the whole Govardhan mountain was used as an umbrella. Sri Krishna demonstrates his power. That is how the myth goes, that he lifts the whole Govardhan mount. That is why he is known as Govardhana Giridhari. Giri means the mountain. So one who lifted, Dhari means to hold. One who lifted with his finger the whole Govardhan mount, so that the entire people of Raja took shelter under that. No matter how much it rained, they were all saved from the flood. That is one story, myth about Sri Krishna in Sri Krishna's life. So men are saying, praising him in this song, it was you, that is as Krishna, who lifted the Govardhan mount. Wild flowers decorate your person, O Damodara, one who destroyed Kamsa's pride. So Kamsa was an evil person, his own uncle, who was killed by Damodara or Sri Krishna. So men are singing this verse and then women continue. So it's like a song which is sung alternately by men and women. So women say, "Oh Sham." Sham means of dark color. His skin was dark. You sported with the milkmaids of Vrindavan. That is the gopis. And then the last line, as usual, when men sing one line, the women sing another line. And then after, they all conclude by singing Hari Bol, chant the name of Hari, O my mind. So that song now continues. And then, as the demi-goddesses, who are dressed as demi-goddesses in that drama, they sing the line, you with slanting eyes and the peacock feather arching on your forehead, the heartthrob of Radha, Sri Ramakrishna goes into deep samadhi. He is so enchanted by this wonderful song. Perhaps the vision of Sri Krishna is before him. He literally sees. He does not see them as actors anymore. He is seeing a vision. Immediately his mind goes into a very high state of spiritual state, because whatever Sri Ramakrishna heard or sang or listened, that would invoke a sort of divine fervor in his mind. Even the least suggestion of divinity, that would invoke, and maybe he used to see these visions, have the experience. So he goes into deep samadhi. The concert is going on, but Sri Ramakrishna has gone into another world. He is not enjoying the external drama anymore. The spark has lit a fire in his heart, and he is seeing the real, the whole drama seems to be virtual to him. He is absolutely not in this world. He has been transported into a higher state. William Wordsworth's poem, when Swami Vivekananda heard for the first time, his William Hastie was a Scottish professor who taught Swami Vivekananda. He was discussing William Wordsworth Excursion, where there is a description of a trance. When a poet sees the nature around him, he goes into a trance. So these boys were very keen to know what this trance is. What does it do? Because they had heard this word, but they didn't know what exactly happens. So Naren was very keen, that is, who was a student. He asked, what do you mean by this word trance? Can you explain? So obviously the principal, William Hastie, who was taking the English class, the poetry of William Wordsworth, said, see, I can't give you a very clear picture of what this trance is, but I have seen a person who goes into a trance now and then. If you want to know what it is, you go and see the Paramahamsa of Dakshineshwar, because perhaps William Hastie had an occasion to witness Sri Ramakrishna's Samadhi, who was his Naren's professor at Scottish Church College in Calcutta, where he was studying. So that inspired Naren that awakened in him a great desire to visit Sri Ramakrishna, the Paramahamsa of Dakshineshwar, whom he had not met, to see what this trance is. So here we see Sri Ramakrishna goes into deep samadhi, which is a trance, which of course William Hastie would not thought is the best way to explain to somebody what a trance is. Otherwise we can just imagine, because we don't come across these states so frequently, or even rarely. We don't come across these states. This is something which is a result of high spiritual attainment. And Sri Ramakrishna here, M has recorded that when that song was being sung, others would have perhaps appreciated as a piece of wonderful music, piece of wonderful poetry, a piece of wonderful acting. That is what we ordinary people are all capable of. We can appreciate, obviously we can appreciate. It creates in us a very noble feeling. But very rarely you will see a drama or some scene or some action or some thought, some simple sentence, and that leads to this ecstatic feeling where he goes into samadhi. It was so difficult to keep his mind on the lower plane. That is why somebody had to be with him. Such songs, such situations would arouse the greatest feelings in his heart. And the concert was going on, all others were watching the drama or the concert or the Chaitanya Leela, but Sri Ramakrishna was not aware. He was in his own world, which is a result of samadhi. So, now the next scene is Jagannath Mishra, that is Nimai's, that is Chaitanya's father, has received guests. So he is still witnessing this Chaitanya Leela. Sri Ramakrishna becomes intoxicated with the intense love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So why? Because this child Nimai, this is one scene, the song that about Krishna has aroused that feeling, but again he comes down, and when he sees another scene, he goes back into that same state. He becomes intoxicated with the intense love for this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who according to Vaishnavas is an incarnation of Sri Krishna. So Jagannath Mishra in this scene, who is Nimai's father, has received guests. The child Nimai is just strolling and singing joyfully with the companions of his age. When the guests have arrived, so this young Nimai is playing. Of course, this is all part of the whole drama, Chaitanya Leela. So he says, where is my Vrindavan and where is mother Yashoda? Where is my father Nanda and where is my brother Balai? So Chaitanya is transported into a previous life where he as Krishna, in that state of ecstasy, just as Sri Ramakrishna used to be reminded of his divine nature as Shiva or Krishna or Rama or even Jesus Christ. He had so many visions, and all these great spiritual personalities merged in his personality. Here also, young Chaitanya, that is how the drama was enacted, is crying out and singing in his beautiful young voice, where is my Vrindavan? That means he is transported back to the days of Sri Krishna, because he was the incarnation of Krishna. So the memories of the past are now overflowing this young child, Nimai, and he says, where is my mother Yashoda? Where is my father Nanda Ghosh? And where is my brother Balai, Balram? Where are my twin cows, black and white? And where is my bewitching flute? Where can I find Sri Dama, Sudama, and the other covered boys? They were Sridama and Sudama were his close friends. So now Chaitanya is trying to sing, by singing this song, he's trying to, he is gone into a state where he is recollecting his previous life. And where is my Jamuna's bank, where is my banana grow? There was a banana grow near the Jamuna bank. And where are my milkmaids and my Radha? He used to sport with all these people and as Krishna. So Chaitanya, young Nimai, is playing with his boys and singing this song full of ecstasy. Then the guests offer food to Bhagwan with their eyes shut. They have all closed their eyes and offered food. They were doing some puja, worship. Nimai comes running, the small boy comes running. Though they have offered the food and we are supposed to take only prasad, he just goes and takes the offering and eats the holy food. Normally it would amount to sacrilege. You can't just eat something which has been offered. Is being offered. You can't just go and consume it. It's meant for God. After offering is over, then only we take it as prasad. So here, the children the children led by Nimai himself comes running and eats the holy food which was being offered. They were all offering, normally we offer food by closing our eyes. So the guests who had come with all these offerings, they recognize Nimai as Bhagwan and sing the hymns of 10 avatars, Dashavatara Stotra. That's a beautiful hymn. The 10 avatars, the fish, the turtle, the sow, the Narasimha, half man and half lion, Vamana, a dwarf, Parshurama avatar, a warrior sage in Hindu mythology, Rama, Krishna, Buddha and Kalki. These are the 10 incarnations. So there is a Dashavatara Stotra which Girish Ghosh is making the people sing, praising him. Because when you praise Vishnu, any avatar of Vishnu, you bring in all these 10 avatars. You begin with the fish avatara, Matsya avatara, then Kurma avatara, the turtle, then Varaha avatara, the sow, then Narasimha avatara, the man-lion, half man, Vamana avatara, Parshurama avatara, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Kalki. That is supposed to be the 10th avatar, the name of the next and the last incarnation according to the Puranas. So this avatara stotra, this is being sung, and the guests are singing this because though this young Nimai has just gone and taken the food offering without waiting for the worship to be over, but they are not upset, they are not disturbed because they know it's the Lord himself who has come to consume this. And they recognize him as Bhagwan, and that's why they sing the hymn of the 10 avatars, saying that you are an avatara, and while taking leave of Mishra and Sachi, they sing another hymn. Victory to Nityananda and Gaur, victory to the Redeemer, the refuge of the helpless, the soul of the embodied soul, and the dispeller of fear. So as Krishna, he dispelled the fear by killing Kaliya, and he is the soul of the embodied soul. We are Jivas, but he is the Shiva within us, and he is the refuge of the helpless. When people are helpless, they go to him and he saves them. That's the idea. So with that, they conclude this song, and of course the song continues, but we will discuss it in the next class. If there is any question, you can ask, and we will now conclude. The next few lines say that in every age you sport in a new way, new role with new wave. You who bear the burden of the universe, you take away the fire of the world with the rain of your divine love. You distribute the joy of your divine sport. You are the hope of the lowly and destroyer of all sins, and the remover of all cause of fear. So these are the different characteristics. It's such a wonderful poem. Girish was an excellent poet. So all the philosophies has been compressed and into these dramas, and especially the songs. So as Thakur hears this song, hymn, he again for the second time passes into an ecstatic mood. So that is how this particular scene where Sri Ramakrishna has gone to attend the Chaitanya Leela in the Star Theatre, he is fascinated by just a mere drama. Of course, for others, it has just a theatrical value. It's a good drama. They will perhaps praise the singing, praise the acting of the characters there. But for Sri Ramakrishna, it was not. It was as real as Chaitanya himself. So that is why he used to go into trance when the drama reminded him of the real Leela, Chaitanya Leela. It was a drama, but for him the drama was as good as the real, because his mind was so focused, so devoted to these ideas that the least suggestion would transport his mind into that divine state. So if there are some questions, I would like to just say, is manana, reasoning, necessary when one feels deep down inside that what he heard is truth? Can one simply accept and surrender to the divine? It's a very good question. Obviously, it is very rare that this happens. Manana is for people who are rational. Manana is for people who follow the path of jnana. Unfortunately, God has created different people in different ways. He has not given simple childlike faith to everybody. But if by the grace of God somebody has faith and feels the spirit, the devotion to the Lord deep within in the heart, then there is no need for manana. Manana is for people who are dry, who want to reason out everything. For them also there is a path. But there are people who are born that way. They have been asked to doubt everything, just as we have the doubting Thomas, who always doubted. And see, Christ used to make fun. That's why he is known as the doubting Thomas. So such people, they have to reason, at least with the hope that constant reasoning and manana will make their whatever they believe or whatever is the truth according to the scriptures a part of their personality, something that gives them a conviction that this is true. For them, manana is required. But even for others who seem to have this faith, who know deep within their hearts, they are already convinced, even then, abhyasa or practice is necessary. So that can be called as manana, though it is not strictly manana, it is a kind of repetition. We have japa. People have tremendous faith in the power of the mantra. So they just go on repeating. They don't want logic to interrupt them. They don't want to find the logic behind the mantra. They said, I have been given the mantra by my guru. I have been given a path of worship. I love this path of bhakti, and deep within I know it is true. Though I may not have realized that truth, but my bhakti will definitely increase by repeatedly chanting the name of the Lord or singing his praises. So that is the path of bhakti where you don't have to do manana in that sense, the way Gyanis do it. But still, for bhaktas, manana is repetition. One has to repeat over and over again. The faith has to become a conviction. It has to be converted into shraddha. So that is the idea. So we will conclude if there are no more questions. Yeah. So we will now have these classes regularly. Maybe in future we will try to be as regular as possible. But I think now that the center has opened, everything has opened, there are, you see, when during COVID, we were unfortunately all stuck indoors. Now, that is how these online classes became popular, and we began with almost a class every day. Then it was too much because there were other activities. Now I need to go visit so many places. We have a class on every alternate first and third Saturday at Bharati Vidya Bhavan. So there has been this traveling, a lot of traveling in the recent past. Uh, Try to reach out to as many places as possible, because you see, online classes have its own value sitting in the comfort of one's home. But there's no substitute to personal meeting. You exchange ideas, you share ideas. There's a different kind of value or to these live classes. So since most of the people are able to come to the center, we are planning a few activities like retreats, like Japa Yagna, where because we have had a lot of theoretical background, but we would now like to put those things, ideas, the wonderful ideas that we are discussing in the gospel, in the life of Srima Sharda Devi, because they were keen that their ideas should be practiced. So maybe we can have sessions, Japa Yagnas, which we will be announcing soon, where people can come maybe on weekdays or even weekends or holidays, where they can spend at least 3 to 4 hours in some serious spiritual practice, especially those who have been fortunate, or maybe who had the opportunity to have their initiation, some kind of spiritual practice which has been given to them by their teachers, which uh, though they though all of us want to practice in a very systematic way, our duties do not permit us to do that. So if there is an opportunity, if there is some japa yagna or something like that, japa yagna means sacrifice of japa. We do many sacrifices, we do rituals, we offer many things to the Lord. Why? But Japa Yagna is the greatest among all the yagnas. Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yagna nam Japa Yagnosmi. Means among all the sacrifices, the sacrifice of repeating the divine name and offering it at the feet of the Lord is much more than offering millions and millions of rupees and other things, because the name of the Lord itself we are offering. So, because Sri Krishna has very clearly said in the Bhagavad Gita, Yagnanam Japa Yagna Asmi, Yagnosmi, means among all the sacrifices, I may do a sacrifice by lighting a fire and offering many ahutis in that. I may sacrifice by doing service. There are many sacrifices, but the greatest among all the sacrifices is Japa Yagna. So we are planning, we'll let you know soon when it is possible for us. So though, please don't mind if the frequency of the classes is reduced, but we will substitute it or compensate much more than just a theoretical class, or maybe some interaction, to have some kind of practical practice of spirituality, which we will try to organize and see how it could be done, so that many people can practice. They can even practice in their own homes. Recently, I saw one of our centers does this online practice of japa, where instructions are given online, but one has to practice them in their homes. For some reason, if they cannot attend, if the japa yagna is done in such a way that the instructions are here, then we just disperse and then actually practice it, then come again for another session, small session, some instructions, and instead of practicing it in the shrine here, those who cannot, they can still practice it from their homes and trying to maintain that kind of atmosphere. So that is just an idea that is coming to my mind now that things have become normal. Maybe might be a slight decrease in the online classes. So I'll take your leave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.